Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're here, chances are you are still contemplating whether or not to start beekeeping here in the Philippines. Maybe you've seen my other videos where I talked about why it's a good idea and how to get started, but somehow you're still hesitating. If you haven't seen those yet, go check them out after this video. Today, I'm going to do something a bit different. Instead of hyping up the benefits, I'm going to talk about why beekeeping might not work out for you. Don't get me wrong, this isn't about discouraging anyone. It's about being honest about the challenges you might face and giving you some realistic solutions. When I first started, I was very hesitant because it all sounded so good, too good to be true, honestly. And let's face it, most people who try to sell you on an idea only talk about the positives. But I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I want to give you the full picture so you can decide for yourself if beekeeping is really for you. So without further ado, here are 4 reasons why you should not start beekeeping in the Philippines and some tips to work around them if you're still determined to give it a shot. Reason number 1, you are deathly allergic to bee stings. Let's get the obvious one out of the way. You're going to get stung. No beekeeper, no matter how careful or experienced, escapes it completely. It's just part of the job. My mentor once told me you only become a legitimate beekeeper if you've lost count of how many times you've been stung. And you know what? That's true. Personally, I don't get stung a lot. Sometimes I go for months without a sting, even when I'm not wearing full protection. But then there are days when I'll get stung 5 times in one go. It really depends. If you have a history of severe allergic reactions like anaphylaxis, it's important to be cautious. I'm allergic to other things like seafood and pet dander, so I was advised to carry epinephrine with me all the time just in case. Just so you know, we don't have EpiPen here in the Philippines, so you have to manually get the liquid from the vial and inject it when things go serious. If you're not sure if you're allergic to bee stings, you can approach a beekeeper and get stung in a controlled environment. Make sure you're near a hospital or medical care. Most people only experience swelling and itching, but it's better to be safe than sorry. If you're deathly allergic but still really want to pursue beekeeping, you could always hire someone to handle the bees for you. But for most people, this is a big enough reason to reconsider. Reason number 2, you do not have a suitable location for your apiary or bee farm. Bees need a proper home. A good location should have flowering plants nearby, access to clean water, and minimal disturbances from humans or animals. Without a proper spot, your bees won't thrive. But here's the thing. Even if you don't have your own place, the fact that you're willing to start means you can find a way to make it work. Maybe you have a friend or relative with an empty lot, or maybe you know someone with an empty backyard. With a little negotiation, like offering them a share of the honey, you could make it a win-win situation. When I started, my location was far from perfect. I had my colonies on our rooftop. Yes, rooftop, not a roof deck, which wasn't even easy to access. I had to climb a ladder to check on them. Plus, it was so hot, so I had to schedule my inspections early in the morning to avoid sunburn or overheating. But the location worked well for the bees because there were plenty of nearby plants ideal for foraging. But also, I ran into challenges like issues with the neighbors' lights because the bright lights at night confused my bees, causing them to fly toward the lights, and unfortunately, some of my neighbors got stung. I had to make adjustments like repositioning my colony so they couldn't see the lights at night. I also made peace with my neighbors by offering them free honey as compensation for the stings. So even if your setup isn't perfect, you can make adjustments to suit both you and your bees, and including the neighbors. Reason number 3, you cannot commit to regular colony checkups. Beekeeping isn't as time intensive as some business, but it still requires commitment. In the Philippines, as I always say, you need to check your colonies at least once every 7 to 14 days. Why? Because you need to make sure your queen is alive and laying eggs. And even if your queen is alive and healthy, the colony might still decide to create a new queen and prepare to swarm. This happens because bees instinctively want to expand their population. But since most queens we use here are artificially inseminated, their wings are clipped to prevent them from flying out. If the colony creates a new virgin queen, she will kill the old queen. And this new queen isn't guaranteed to mate successfully, especially if there aren't enough drones in the area. That said, compared to other businesses, beekeeping is pretty chill. It only takes a couple of hours a week. Plus, when it comes to selling honey, there is no need to rush because honey does not expire. But if you really can't commit to regular inspections, you can hire someone to help you and assist you. Reason number 4. Beekeeping in the Philippines can be challenging if there's no fellow beekeepers in your area. Beekeeping in the Philippines, especially with Apis mellifera, thrives on community and cooperation. Unlike native bees, mellifera colonies rely heavily on human intervention to sustain themselves in our environment. This is where having other beekeepers nearby becomes invaluable. For example, queens need to mate with drones. We all know that. And when there are no other colonies nearby to provide genetic diversity, your queen's mating success drops significantly. Even if you have a large apiary with your own male bees or drones, it's still not ideal. Nature has a way of preventing inbreeding. During mating flights, queens fly out far from their home colonies to mate with unrelated drones. This ensures the genetic health of your bees. Without nearby beekeepers, this process becomes difficult, if not impossible. Although some beekeepers resort to purchasing queens from breeders in other regions or even abroad, which can get very expensive. And while you can try raising your own queens, you still need a healthy drone population for mating. This is why cooperation with fellow beekeepers is so critical. Another way fellow beekeepers can help is by sharing equipment. Beekeeping tools like a honey extractor are quite expensive. And if you have fewer than 5 colonies, investing in one might not be practical. Instead, you can borrow equipment from your fellow beekeepers nearby. I'm really emphasizing on this 4th point because some people might get too greedy or think they can do it all on their own, which is fine if you can successfully manage it solo. But beekeeping is better when it's a team effort. So let's all cooperate and not hate. So there you have it. 4 reasons why beekeeping might not be for you. But remember, this isn't about discouraging anyone. It's about preparing you for the realities of beekeeping here in the Philippines. If you're still passionate about starting, take the time to address these challenges. Be resourceful, build connections, and most importantly, be patient. Beekeeping isn't just a business. It's a journey, and it's incredibly rewarding if you're willing to put in the effort. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more beekeeping tips. And as always, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. I'd love to answer them. Until next time, keep it sweet and keep buzzing. Bye-bye.